Hello everyone, I am Robbie Rhino, and in today's video we're having a look at the Object 752, which is the level 100 reward tank for the Kinetic Fury season, which is currently going on in World of Tanks console. Should you decide to pick up the season pass and get to level 100, the Object 752 is a Soviet Tier 9 premium heavy tank. Unfortunately, doesn't earn any extra silver, but it does earn 5% extra XP, which is nice. I'll give you a very brief rundown of the statistics, and I have two replays for you, showcasing kind of the average kind of game I'm having in this tank so far. So it's pretty good, but it's not too bad, and you'll find out why in just a little bit. So this tank, it has 1750 hit points, which isn't too bad. It's okay. It has 380 meters view range, which it's not brilliant, but it's workable, and for a Soviet tank it's kind of to be expected. Mobility wise, it's okay for a heavy. It goes 40 kilometers an hour forwards and 12 backwards with a power to weight ratio of 13.99. It's a little bit sluggish. It does get up to the 40 kilometers an hour, but it does take a while, and sort of when you're going on sort of soft terrain, going up hills like we are here on Prokhorov, as you can see, it's sort of you sort of reach 30 and then you slowly decline as you go up the hills. But it is a heavy tank, and in not very typical Soviet fashion, it actually has 8 degrees of gun depression, which is very, very nice on its gun, which is why I've come here on Prokhorov to use this ridgeline. It only has 12 degrees of elevation, so that is something that is very frustrating if you're trying to shoot up sometimes. But yeah, and I think the main thing what everyone's interested in whenever obviously you're looking at these reviews and sort of wondering whether you want to pick up the tank and go for the season, the walls, that kind of thing. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, is the gun. So, like I said earlier, it's a 3-shot autoloader. It's a 122mm 3-shot autoloader that deals 390 alpha damage per shot. So that means it's a total clip damage of 1170 damage. Unfortunately, the penetration is very lacking. On its standard AP rounds, it's 248mm of penetration, which is really, really poor for Tier 9, and the shell velocity isn't great either. And if you want to go for the premium APCR rounds, it's only 318, which is a bit of a jump up, but that still isn't great when you're fighting the super heavies at Tier 9 and Tier 10. It has a very long reload for the 1170 damage clip at 34 second base reload. The aim time is horrifically long at 3.4 seconds. The accuracy is 0.42, so it is very derpy, and I found sometimes tanks are on paper are derpy, but they don't feel like it when you're actually playing them in game, but this definitely does. And also the intra-clip reload is 3.2 seconds between shells, so that is very long, and it can be tempting to sort of sit there and stay too long trying to get your clip out. And I've had quite a lot of experience playing autoloaders. Obviously I've played this game now for 7 years, but I found this tank quite challenging. I think a lot of that is down to kind of boredom. It's another Soviet heavy tank. It's nothing too special. It has the autoloader, and it has some gun depression, which is nice. And it does have very, very troll side armour. There's some spaced armour on the side, so you can over angle and side scrape really well in this tank. Just to touch on the armour a little bit, it has 150mm lower plate, so that's like going to get buttered by pretty much anything you'll meet at 8, 9 and 10. Upper plate, it ranges from 195 to 215mm. Turret armour is very nice at 330mm, but you do have two cupolas, both for 180mm, so if your opponents hit that, you are going to get penetrated whenever you come up against. Extreme angling, you can sort of get the upper hold to about 330mm in parts, and the turret, the maximum I've seen is about sort of 350 to 380mm, so it's a very nice turret. If you sort of stay moving, you can bounce a lot of shots, and like I said, it's a great tank for side scraping. It's got a sort of boat shaped hull with spaced armour, A couple of different sort of, there's like a 70mm plate on the side lower down and 140 a strip at the higher, so you know it's incredibly good at over angling, so you can bait people into shooting your sides. And a lot of light tanks have tried to circle me and dumped magazines and things, and you know the tracks just exorbit in typical Soviet fashion. But yeah, it's just a little bit sort of dull for me personally. It's not my kind of play style. I think there are better autoloaders out there. You know, as you can see in these two replays, you can have good games. You can be powerful. That reload really does hurt you. It's a very long reload just to deal a small amount of damage, and there are autoloaders with a bigger clip capacity that sort of reload in the same time or just under. So you know, just be wary of that if you're thinking of you know, going for this tank and when you're taken out on the battlefield should you finish the season. Equipment wise, I run a gun stabilizer because the accuracy definitely needs it. I run advanced gun lay and drive, which is one of the few tanks I run it in, and improve ventilation just to help everything a little bit more. And my commander, Sixth Sense, Born Leader, rapid loading, steady aim, rapid aim, snapshot, armor angling because of the sort of the heavy aesthetic to the whole tank, situational awareness to help the view range a little bit more, and track mechanic to help me get my tracks up and running when you do inevitably get tracks when shells get magically absorbed into the abyss of Soviet side armour. I've managed to get my view range up to about 433 meters with the equipment and the commander skills, so that's not too bad for a Soviet heavy. And yeah, as we've seen in the replay, there wasn't too much to commentate on. I sort of stayed in the mid-ridge for a lot of that game, just shooting what was spotted. And you can see that you really do have to sort of wait for that reload, just sort of wait in, trying to get the damage out. And we had shots as soon as we were reloaded there, and you see the game sort of passed us by a little bit, but we did manage to finish MVP. 4.1k direct damage, 1 kill and 255 assistance. So we're going to hop into the second replay and I'll talk you through what's going on there, so I shall see you in a bit. So we're now in the second replay of the video, and we're here on a recently revamped map, Redshire, which was actually it was one of my favourite maps, and it still is. Nice open map, something a little bit different than we've had for the past sort of couple of years or whatever it's been, or a year. Yeah, and we are top tier in this battle, so we're going to sort of see how we can push the tempo as much as our reload allows, basically. I think it's been an encounter. I was tempted to sort of go to the cap. Obviously you've always got to be wary of the cap in encounter. It obviously completely depends on where your teammates kind of go at the start of the battle, but I kind of wanted to get stuck straight in, and I'm going to head towards their spawn and sort of try and cut off anything crossing the south or any heavies that do come to that sort of typical heavy area in sort of EF 8-9. I have to be very careful. I'm very dangerous when I'm loaded. When I'm on my reload, I'm very vulnerable in this tank, and that's the kind of thing that you have to be wary of when playing this tank, is that people will soon realise this isn't a free shot autoloader. They'll realise that you dumped your magazine if they're counting your shells. That's something that you can do if you're coming up against one of these, counting 3 shells, and then you'll have sort of a good sort of 28 to 30 odd seconds to come round and try and take out this tank. It is an incredibly long base reload. I'm not sure why it's that long. I don't think it needed to be that long. The DPM is pretty horrific, and I don't think the tank has anything massive going for it, apart from maybe it's just that kind of cheeky Soviet bias that the army gets, so they have to sort of balance it somehow. So we've come over to this little heavy area, like I said. We've noticed this Italian heavy now. We're going to get 2 shots in, but because of that very long interclip reload, we only managed to get the 2 shots in there. And I'm going to go straight for a reload, keep the opposition thinking that I am, you know, I have 1 left in the magazine, just in case they come after me, and that can be a bit of a deterrent, and that's kind of something that you're going to have to sort of do in this tank with this playstyle, this long reload, is kind of trick your opponents into thinking that maybe you are loaded. You know, go forwards and backwards, try and poke the ridge lines, keep them spotted, and act like you are loaded. Try to deter them from coming over. So I'm just going to angle up here, get shot in the side by that E75 TS. I'm going to wait to naturally repair, so I keep my repair kit, because I found for some reason the ammo racks are a little bit, yeah, they're a little bit sort of exposed in this tank. For some reason it feels like I'm getting ammo racked a lot. I don't know whether that's just a little bit of bad luck, or maybe I'm angling incorrectly. But we put a couple of shots into that E75 TS Roger Dodger. I never thought I'd say that in World of Tanks, Roger Dodger, but there we are. Yeah, that's all in the past now, isn't it? So, got 10 seconds left on this reload, and I'm I'm getting sort of surrounded now from both sides. So I'm going to try and push this E75 TS, get him out of the game, and I'm going to go after this Italian heavy, which fortunately is a one shot because of the artillery hit. And now I'm going to put a shot into the tracks of this 50 TP to stop him in his advance, and I'm going to use this rock to play Ring Around the Rosie while I reload, because otherwise if I just face hugged, or if I sort of just sat in front of the 50 TP, I would very, very likely be a goner already in this match. So we picked up 2.8k damage at this point and 497 assistance, because we are sort of at the front spotting. Nothing massive, not too bad. I'm trying to sort of bait a shot here, but I feel like the artillery might be looking at me, so I'm just going to poke around, get a shot through the drive rail of the 50 TP, instantly go for the reload again, so I'm ready for the next opponent that comes up, and it's this Waffenträger of Panzer IV. Is the next contender. Gonna kind of act like I'm loaded, trying to sort of act like I'm going to come around that way, then I'm going to reverse up. I've got 8 seconds left, and I'm going to go around the other side and try and use the gun depression, which is a very, very nice feature of this tank. Actually, that's probably the best feature I found of this tank. Usually Soviet tanks have very poor gun depression, but this has 8 degrees, which is very nice, and you can use quite a few ridgelines in this map and other maps basically. So fortunately we get a shot through the front of the Waffenträger Panzer IV. I'm waiting as long as possible to get the second and third shells in, just so he burns, so I can finish him off in one clip, because otherwise I'd be sat there reloading in front of a very good tank for DPM. Finish off that artillery. Always nice to get a piggy out of the way. And we've got 23 seconds left. We're not going to get the last kill, but yeah, we pick up 4.8k damage, and that again was like the last replay. We were firing nearly every time we were reloaded. I tried to manage a reload as best as possible, and I think that just shows what you've got to do in this tank. You've got to try and manage that long reload, use the sort of cover to your advantage, use teammates and support to your advantage where possible, and just dish out the damage. And yeah, try not to miss shells, because they will hurt. Put a good commander in this tank if you can, just to help the accuracy and aim time. But it's a little bit dull for me. It might be your thing, but yeah, it's another tank, isn't it? It's another good tank to add to your collection. So thank you very much for watching this replay. A little bit of a shorter one today. I hope you all have a great weekend coming up. I'll see you on the battlefield, and bye for now.